A former Deputy Minister of Finance, Mcebisi Jonas's book is launching this evening. The book, titled After Dawn, Hope After State Capture, takes South Africans through how the country got to its present political predicament and what can be done to turn things around. Now, Jonas told the Zondo Commission the Gupta family offered him a vast amount of money to accept the Minister of Finance position. Our Kailishle Kumalo is at the launch at the moment and joins us now. Kailishle, I'm sure that there is lots of anticipation ahead of this launch, because after all, this is the man who brought it all out for us.
Precisely, Yuveka. It's bursting at the seams here in Hyde Park at the exclusive book. So, as you can see, so many South Africans from all walks of life really are here to see and really to hear the riveting stuff about really the account in as far as state capture is concerned. So it's a very comprehensive book. We got an opportunity of reading so many chapters. It's really diagnosing some of the problems that South Africa is facing. But of course, like you just alluded in your intro, at the heart of it is the project of state capture, the deconstruction and the repurposing of the state, where so many institutions were really just sort of hollowed out and really just turned for something else as opposed to prioritizing the interest of South Africans. So the launch is underway. We're hoping to get an opportunity to speak to Mr. Jonas as to what's really motivated him to write this particular book, especially as the country is still grappling with a lot of startling revelations that are coming out from the state capture inquiry.
Kai, I'm not sure how much of the book you've actually managed to get through. You say you managed to get through, have a look at a couple of chapters there. I mean, is there anything in there that we haven't heard at state capture already? Are there things that are probably yet to come if you manage to get through enough of it?
It's a very comprehensive book, so it speaks to some of the economic failures that the country has been subjected to dating back to 1994. But also, more importantly, there is a chapter where there is a reflection about the recent elections, the general elections in South Africa. It speaks about the irrelevance of the 1994 compact, but also, more importantly, Yuveka, it speaks about the way forward that the country should really try to endeavor and strive to do in trying to healing some of the processes that the country has endured. So it speaks mainly, for example, about the state-owned enterprises, how they can be the key engines of really driving the economic agenda in South Africa. There is a chapter specifically, Yuveka, where it speaks about Eskom, so many woes, financial problems facing this particular entity, but also in terms of its being a very key player in terms of South Africa. It supplies about 95% of the country's electricity. So certainly, if it does fail, that really doesn't bode well for the country's economy. But also, apart from that, Siveka, there are so many prominent South Africans. We got an opportunity to spot as well the governor of the Reserve Bank, Lesetja Kganyago, the Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, the former Minister of Tourism as well. So during the course of the night, we're hoping to get their reactions as well. These were some of the voices that were very quite vociferous in as far as state capture is concerned.
And is it quite academic, Kaya, or does he get a little personal as well in terms of feelings and just, you know, whether there was anger? And I mean, it sounds like it's a hopeful book. It sounds like he's looking ahead to how we can climb our way out of this. But just how emotional, if you manage to pick up any of that from what you've read so far, does he get?
So it's a mixture of a number of feelings, really. So this is somebody who just, went into the struggle at the age of 14 and now fast forward into the democratic dispensation. There is a part where he's talking about when he was offered that staggering amount of 600 million rand, and he really talks about the confusion that he encountered, that this was a party that he really sacrificed for, and now South Africa had democracy. But now having such an experience where you have now the parallel state where some certain entities are really trying to rule the country and having all sorts of, ulterior motives as opposed to making sure that South Africa is able to move forward. So Mr. Jonas is able to really delve into his emotional space, but also into some structural problems that are still facing South Africa. For example, it talks about the exclusion of the young people in terms of the participation of the economy, but also the inequalities that are still besetting South Africa, and many other structural problems that are really hampering economic growth. But also there is a strong emphasis on inclusive growth in South Africa. That's something that the country has been battling with, but also, for example, talking about the decline, for example, the issue of competitiveness in South Africa, how the country can leverage in terms of some of the key economic sectors like manufacturing, where South Africa really does stand a very good chance in terms of playing a very pivotal role in Africa.
All right, well, make sure you bring us back a signed copy of that one, Kaya. Thanks very much there at Exclusive Books in Hyde Park, ahead of the launch of After Dawn, Hope After State Capture, and Mcebisi Jonas's book about to be launched there. Now,